takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a country to protect one. Young girls remain among the most vulnerable populations, susceptible to abuse, poverty, and teenage pregnancy. Melanie Barnes, a child protection officer at UNICEF, says that in Latin America and the Caribbean, there are roughly 58 million girls who were married before the age of 18.
When we surveyed women aged 20 to 24, we found a lot of them were married before the age of 18, and the data is 5.5%. Versus 1.4 boys. So we know that in terms of Belize, there's a large group of women who experience early unions. In terms of the region, Belize ranks 33. Belize has 33% prevalence, which makes us rank in terms of Latin America and the Caribbean as fourth. But for the Caribbean, we are first with 33%. The closest country to us is at 30%. So we have a lot of work to do in terms of addressing the age of marriage, but more so addressing the issue of consent.
The region has made little progress on ending child marriage over the last 25 years and stands to become the second highest when it comes to child marriage by 2030. This is partly due to the challenges in regulating the rate of minors engaging in intercourse. Special Envoy for the Development of Families and Children, Rossana Briceño, explains that education is key in driving down the numbers.
That's a hard one because we can't police everybody. And girls, boys, they will respond, they will be in relationships because it's a part of growing up. It's a natural process. We can't stop anybody from having sex because it will happen. Whether you want it or not, it will happen. We can pretend that it's not happening, but it is happening. What can we do? Educate them. Let them understand the consequences of having sex at an early age, the consequences of getting pregnant without protection or not being ready to get into a union or a marriage, because there's so many consequences. Health issues. A young girl is not even developed properly. You get pregnant. Now a child is having a child.
But the laws are changing. Last year at the National Children's Parliament, the call was made to raise the age of consent to marry from 16 to 18 years old. And today, across the country, consultations are happening to bring this change into legislation. The Executive Director of the National Commission for Families and Children spoke with us about the initiative.
It is extremely important, especially from the standpoint from NCFC, because the whole objective of the National Children's Parliament is a platform to allow the children's voices to be heard. And so it is important for us to continue. When I say us stakeholders, in this case we have Special Envoy and as well as the National Women's Commission that supports us to allow our children to have their voices heard. And so not only to just listen to them at the Parliament, but to act and to assist, because that is what we are here for.
Poverty and a lack of education continue to be two of the main drivers in child marriage. Executive Director of the National Women's Commission, Eleanor Maria, stressed the importance of both parents providing support for their children financially and emotionally. So how is it that so many women enter into these unions at such a young age?
Wow. It's historical, it's cultural, it has been normalized. You know, historically, as I said, when it comes to relationship, family history, we've always had this issue where grown men seems to be attracted to younger women. And they usually prey on the most vulnerable families, so the very poor families in most cases. And so if this household is poor, and there you have a man who have money or have some asset and saying, I want to take care of your daughter, In many cases, they would give up their daughter for money or so that somebody else can take care of them, and that is what poverty does.
In many rural communities, child marriage exists as a part of the culture. 1 in 5 women ages 15 to 19 is married or in a union. Minister of Human Development, Families and Indigenous People Dolores Balderramos Garcia says that despite ties to the culture, child marriage needs to go.
Not because early unions are permitted in certain traditional communities does that mean that it is a good thing. Because how can a 12-year-old, how can a 13 or a 14-year-old really have a child and bring up that child in a proper way? They are children themselves, and clearly a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old would not have gone to high school to finish up. And you see, you need your education to be able to have a good life and a good job, and then be able to contribute back to society. So we want to end the child marriages and the early unions.
Britney Gordon for News 5.